I ran into my ex-wife's mom by the poolside, and I almost walked away. It had been 3 years since the divorce. 3 years of silence. 3 years of pretending that chapter of my life never existed. She was sitting alone on a lounge chair, sunglasses on, staring at the water like it was holding answers she couldn't say out loud. At first, she didn't recognize me. Then she did. She slowly took off her glasses, and her face changed. Not anger, not awkwardness, regret. She stood up, hesitated, then said my name, softly, like she wasn't sure she was allowed to. I said hello. That was it. One word. But her hands were shaking. She asked how I'd been. I gave the usual lie. I'm fine. She nodded, then looked at the pool and said something I never expected. She ruined it, didn't she? My chest tightened. She told me the truth I was never supposed to hear. About the lies. About the pressure. About the mistake that ended our marriage. Then she said the sentence that changed everything. If I had spoken up sooner, you'd still be family. I stood there, the sound of splashing water around us, realizing something powerful. Sometimes closure doesn't come from the person who hurt you, but from the one who watched it happen and stayed silent. I walked away that day lighter than I'd felt in years. Not because the past was fixed, but because the truth finally surfaced. And sometimes, that's enough to let go. I thought that was the end of it. But as I turned to leave, she called my name again, this time louder. People around the pool looked over. I stopped, but I didn't turn back. She said, "She's not okay." That made me face her. She told me my ex-wife had been coming to her house late at night, sitting in the car, not knocking, just crying. "She keeps asking about you," her mom said. "About the man you used to be, and the man she lost." My heart started racing. Then she stepped closer and lowered her voice. "She never stopped loving you. She just didn't know how to stop hurting you." That's when I realized something terrifying. The woman who broke me was broken herself. Her mom reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. "She doesn't know I'm saying this," she whispered. "But if you ever wanted the truth, the whole truth," she showed me a message. One message. And in that moment, I understood why our marriage collapsed. And why fate brought me to that poolside on that exact day. Because some stories don't end with divorce. They pause until the truth is finally ready to speak. The message on her phone wasn't long, but it hit harder than any argument we'd ever had. It was sent the night before our divorce, from my ex-wife to someone I never expected, her boss. The words burned into my memory. "I can't do this anymore. I love my husband, but I'm trapped." My hands went cold. Her mom looked at me and said, "She was being threatened. Her job, her reputation, everything." Suddenly, all the late nights made sense. The distance, the anger that came out of nowhere. I wasn't being replaced. I was being pushed away. Her mom wiped her eyes and said, "She thought leaving you would protect you." That's when the pool noises faded, and the past rearranged itself in my head. I had spent years thinking I wasn't enough, but the truth was, I was the only safe thing she had. Then her mom said one last thing. "She's at the hospital. Right now." My heart stopped. "She collapsed this morning," she whispered. "When she woke up, she asked for you." I stood there, torn between the life I rebuilt and the love I never truly buried. Because sometimes, fate doesn't ask if you're ready. It just opens the door and waits to see if you'll walk through it. I didn't tell her mom yes. I didn't say no either. I just left. I drove for 20 minutes without music, without direction, with my hands shaking on the wheel. Outside the hospital, I sat in the car and stared at the entrance. This was the door to a past I barely survived. Finally, I walked in. She looked smaller than I remembered. Paler. Fragile in a way that scared me. When she saw me, she cried. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just silent tears rolling into her hair. "I didn't think you'd come," she said. I told her the truth. "I didn't think I could." She reached for my hand, but stopped halfway. "I don't want forgiveness," she whispered. "I just needed you to know. I never betrayed you." That was the moment everything changed. Not because we reunited. Not because love magically fixed the damage. But because the lie that haunted me for years finally died. I squeezed her hand and said, "I forgive you." Her eyes closed like she'd been holding her breath for years. When I left the hospital that night, the world felt quiet. Not empty, peaceful. Some love stories don't end with forever. They end with truth. And sometimes, that's the most powerful ending of all. If this story moved you, follow for more real emotions and unforgettable twists. Because some stories aren't meant to be forgotten.